In this video, I'm going to show you how I made 3 different types of scissor mechanisms, at least the scissor part, using light tubing like I have here, or using some U-shape aluminum tubing, which is a little bit lighter, a little more flimsy though. It's probably the least of my favorite of the builds, and then using steel tubing for something that's more durable. The U-shaped aluminum bars are $11.35 at Lowe's or Home Depot. Get 3 of those for about $34. You want to get 3 of the 4 packs of those hex screws, and that's about $3. And then a thing of washers, $3 or $4. Total cost for the scissor parts are $70. You'll add 20 or 40 more dollars if you want to do like brackets and everything else. The pneumatic kit, I just get them from Right Props. It's $200. Comes with the controller, the cylinder, and everything. But you can always find them cheaper on eBay or Amazon if you get them individually. So total under about $300. But like I said, you get cheaper if you get like the metal in bulk, or you just find them somewhere else. Sometimes if you get the longer, like the 8 feet of aluminum, it's cheaper than just getting the 3 feet. So there's definitely ways to cut the cost down on this, 100%. Some of the items you're going to be using is a 1/4 lock nuts. I use these from Hillman. And then you're going to be using these hex cap screws, grade 5, SAE. These are 1/4 by 28 by 2 inches or 1.5 inches. If you are one of the people that go into Lowe's or Home Depot and take screws and nuts out of bags at the store and don't even pay for them and just leave empty bags, you're trash. You are trash. So what I'm doing here is I'm using some very light tubing. This was from a broken umbrella, and they happen to be like, I don't know, 2.5 feet long. So what I have to do is you have to drill 3 holes, one on the top, middle, and bottom. So using these hex screws here, you'll put on a washer and you put it through let's say the middle hole in these that you cut. Then you put a washer in between them. So there's a washer in between both of the bars. Then you want to put a couple more washers in there until it gets over the whole part of the smooth part of this hex nut. So using lock nuts is the best way to keep them in place. So once you get those lock nuts in there, it'll be able to get a good connection. So once you get in there, you'll be able to move them freely. And then once you get a bunch of X's made, now you want to connect them to each other, with the tops connecting with the tops and the bottoms connecting with the bottoms. And that's how you get this little scissor mechanism, at least built on that part. And so right here I have 4 bars, and you connect them on the top, middle, and bottom. So using these 3 items, well, you can be using more washers. Have on there, washer, washer, nut. And you'd put it in the middle, top, bottom, middle, top, bottom, middle. And this mechanism right here, this will go up and down. And you want to get the right size based on the size of the bars that you got here. And on the bottom, this thing will swivel. Okay, so what I'm using for my pneumatic setup, I got these from Right Props.
You could find controllers and relays anywhere. I just typically use their stuff, but right here is the controller, the Peekaboo. This is the Peekaboo 1. And they have like Peekaboo Junior, Peekaboo Plus. The Plus one allows you to do audio. That one's pretty good, but for this, I'm just going to use the Peekaboo 1, which is pretty easy because what you do is when you want to do the movements, you hit the record button, you press the button, the piston will either come out or in, depending on how you have your tube set up, out, in, out, in, out, in, however way you want to do it. And you hit record and it does again. So this goes to the relay, which will open and close. So this relay I'm using, these are really good. They're like little, you use this to increase or decrease the airflow, so it could go out really fast or go out really slow, or go out fast, go back slow. And your air compressor will go plug right into here, and then you will have these go out to the cylinder, you know, one to here, one to here, and that will control it. So this is the setup I'm using.
All right, here's my setup. I use this California Air Tool multi-ply air compressor. This one's pretty good. So, hooked up.
Up to here, this will go all the way into the intake here, and then these go out to each one of these. So the controller will open and close this, which come in here to make this work. So actually, let's move this back some. All right, so right now it's pushed out. So when I push this button, it goes in, out. So this build works. So here's my controller. Press it. See why wood would not be. Uh-oh, there we go. Yep, so it works. You can get these 4-foot U-shape aluminum little bars here from Home Depot or Lowe's. It's just a lighter metal to make your scissor mechanism. That U-shaped aluminum, you'll cut it into 4 1-foot pieces, and then now you'll stack them up, and you want to drill 3 holes, one in the top, one in the middle, and one on the bottom. This way they'll all match up when you put the bolt through them, so they can move freely and not have any friction if they're not exactly correct. So you grab these grade A 1/4 by 28 bolts, and you'll put a washer on it, put it onto the U-shape bar that you have there, stick it through that hole, then you're going to put another washer into it because you want to have a washer in between the scissors. And then when you put it around, you're going to have to put some more washers on it, because those bolts, as you saw, it has like a smooth surface on the top, because we use that so it doesn't wear down the hole when it's moving back and forth. So you have to sometimes put extra washers on there just so you could get to the point where your lock nut will stop and it gives it in a nice secure spot so there's not a lot of give. Here. So on a quick note, right here you see how I put all the washers in there to try to fill up this little part. So you could put the nut right here and put it in place. So here I have them all secured, and I just can't find anything smaller than 1.5. I ordered like 1-inch ones and 3/8 one, and when they arrived in the mail they didn't have this. And the only reason why we want this so it doesn't wear down the hole. So now I have all on here, all set up. All right, almost killed myself, but it's still going downwards. Not quite sure what's going on with that, but let's try it. Well, it works. I just gotta figure out how to get it to not go just straight down. So when doing your mock-up, and that's what this is, here's my mock-up. I want to show you all these holes here. Look at all those holes all over the place. Those are all my attempts to try to get the right height and length, what I need for this. So many attempts, many failures, but look, this is how I have it set up now. So this on top will swivel. When you want, always do this without on air, makes it easier. So when you're doing your mock-up, you set it up how much you want it in when the piston's down. And then you could test if it works by just pressing it out and the piston goes out. That's as far as it's gonna go. Okay, when everything's hooked up, it's still gonna have that downward angle. So I'm thinking maybe if I do this sideways, or more of an angle, maybe that will prevent it. But let's look to see how this looks. Okay, well, look, more holes later. I put this cylinder just slightly slanted. It's amazing how much just slanting it a little bit allowed it to now, when it comes out, to be straight. So on this build, this was just slightly slanted. In between here to the bottom of here, I'm sorry, from here to here is about 1 inch. I did this without air. You never want to practice it with air because this air is dangerous. All right, so let's see how this one works. Okay, so here we go. So that works. So here we go. I have this set up to just swivel. I have this just very slanted. And it gets it straight. So let's look at this build. So now, when we want to make something that's more durable, now we could get like the steel poles and or whatever's more sturdy. You want to build the actual part here to make it last. I'll probably just use the wood during Halloween because I'll change it every year. This will last, you know, at least one night if you do it with wood. All right, here's the first one I made using the tubing. Now this one, I drilled all the holes with a hand drill because I didn't have a drill press. But this is how I built this one. Got all this. Now, if you know someone who welds, that'd be the best thing to do because all mine are just screws. But if you have someone that can weld it, it'd be great. So right here, got this L bracket that's stationary. This one moves. Oh, there's a lot of air coming out here. I gotta fix that. Anyways, so this is how I do my setup. And this is how this one works. Now, of course, I put like weights down so it doesn't jump around, but this one is my very first one that I did. So actually this one kind of worked out for me better than the other one.